Thank you very much for the invitation to speak today. It's something that I'm really passionate about in working with overweight and obese patients, and I've really tried to focus my presentation to give you tools and resources that you can use in your practice, that you can really walk away with something that you can go, okay, I want to change this or do this differently in my own clinical practice. Now, we see these kind of pictures all the time, the little evolution man and how he's got fat and he's got the burger in hand, and it's quite a common picture that we see. And the problem really isn't that first half, it's this last section, and even in the land of Disney, we see the problem. So the question is why? Because there seems to be a big shift in dietary habits, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's guidelines, the guidelines are not right, etc. But there was a paper written by Barry Popkin, and what he said is so true, and we're seeing this even now with our patients, even more so, I think, is that people are eating meals away from home. There's use of edible oils, more sugar-sweetened beverages. Even people's relaxation activities are sedentary. So even the fact that we're not physically active, we're just so sedentary. We sit so much. I mean, there's papers that say that sitting is like the new smoking. We shouldn't be sitting for more than 6 hours a day. Even as a dietitian have to do that because we're consulting. I've actually started doing walk and talk consults at my office now. I have a pair of techies in my cupboard, and not every single session, but they say every second or third, I actually ask patients to bring their techies with, and I've got a 1K route, and we weigh them in, look at the food groups, and we walk. And we talk while we're walking. And it's actually been so good because some of them, they say they're so active, they're walking, and when I go walk with them, they're way too slow. And I'm like, no, we're going faster. And I actually time it with some of the apps I'm going to show you. So that's quite a nice way to get everyone going quite active. Now, obesity is a complex thing. It is never going to be a simple energy in, energy out equation. And anybody that says that is highly mistaken. The World Health Organization actually published a paper on obesity and chronic diseases and what the causes are, and they had some of the things here that they've written. So we see people have increased incomes, urbanization, when people move to urban areas, they have high disposable income, they start buying more takeaway foods, there's exposure to media, there's globalization. So I read a paper where they talked about children in China actually have higher obesity rates now than in the US because they've got more exposure to fast food outlets that was never there many decades ago. Also motorization. We don't get out of our cars and open the gates, it just we press a button and it does it. We press the button on the remote and it does it. So we just have become very, very sedentary beings really. And that's obviously leading to this obesity epidemic. Now, this is an anagram from the American Heart Association paper on managing obesity and chronic diseases. And it's quite good to have a look at this, but it's very many little blocks there. So I actually took one that was a bit, I thought, more user-friendly, and that's from the Australian guidelines. And here you can see what they've got in Australian guidelines is they actually classify within the different BMI groups, and then they give you, it's sort of the 4 A's. So they ask and assess, they advise, assist, and then arrange. Those are the 4 A's. Now, if we're dealing with patients that have got BMIs in these categories, the routine assessment is standard across all these categories. We've got to discuss health issues, screen and manage their comorbidities, assess other factors related to health risk, and then we get to the advice. So it's explaining benefits of weight management and then advising lifestyle interventions. We've got to look at the comorbidities. As dietitians, when we're sitting with an overweight patient in our office, they're not just coming for weight loss. They often have got lots of other medical nutrition therapy that we need to be integrating into our management with these patients. They also say we need to tailor the approach to the individual. And this is so important. In my practice, I actually give every single patient gets their own meal plan. I do a 7-day cycle menu for patients. If the patient says to me, Claire, I eat kawaii every day, then I put kawaii options in their meal plan. I've got a patient, he's lost 62 kilograms. He's a bachelor. He does not cook. He only buys Woolies meals. That is it. So I've actually got him to the point now to at least buy that roast veg pack, put a little bit of olive oil and put it in the oven. That's like the extent of his eating. But with that patient, if you don't make changes that he can make, it's just not going to happen. And you know, this is what I really try to, in my mind, in my practice, if a patient says to me, I've had a patient also walks in, doesn't even say hello, just said to me, if you don't give me chocolate, I'm leaving right now. That's what she said to me. So I said, okay, well, what do you need? And she said, I like lymph balls. So I said, okay, and I calculated a lymph ball into her plan every single day. Within about 6 weeks or so, I said, and now where's your lymph balls? Because I look at the food record and I said, you're not eating them, and I especially calculated them for you. And she said to me, because you gave them, I actually need them anymore. So, so sometimes there's an excellent article, you must all read it, it's called Helping Individuals Help Themselves. It's a paper I read a long time ago, but they really talk about this flexibility and not being so rigid with our patients in order to get them to make change, and that's so valuable. So we also look at a range. We have to review and monitor our patient, and the long-term weight management is also very important. It's not so much about people actually losing the weight, because we want to get them from here to there. But the focus should not just be on weight loss, but how they're going to maintain that weight. Okay? And that sometimes where we lose the focus. So these are key areas that I've listed in terms of that are focus areas for us. And I'm going to just read them because I know that people in PE don't have the slides, but it's balancing our energy and intakes and expenditures, identifying specific triggers for behavior, behavior change and behavior-related eating, looking at physical activity, discussing different dietary approaches for weight loss, individualizing recommendations to these patients, portion control. I mean, I'll show you a very interesting paper just on portion control, where it says what we, almost opposite to what we say, and then I was like, oh, okay, good one to share with the dietitians. Energy density and nutrient quality, and then also getting people to start understanding the energy densities of food and what they're eating. So the areas I'm really going to focus on today is I want to look at diet evolution, the macronutrients and what we should be recommending in those different categories, energy balance, the nutrient quality, also touch on oxidative stress and inflammation because it's a huge part of obesity management and as well as chronic disease management. Also behavior change and then also physical activity. So the question also is, can we say what diet is best for now? What is the best diet to treat weight loss and look after our patients? Because I'm sure you are reading stuff all the time, okay? And patients are wanting this. They want the new best diet. They want to drop 10 kilos in 2 weeks, and that's what they want. Boom. Okay? And as you know, when people are on a diet, they're actually not changing. Even on Oprah, with all the resources, weight cycles. Okay? And I think what's happening is so many people have lost sight of health. They're so worried about their weight, that health, they're doing whatever it takes to get weight loss, but what's that impact on health at the end of the day? So let's just look at some macronutrient strict options when we're calculating plans for patients. If we take a typical female woman, what energy is everybody using on average? So actually, the paper, the Australian paper, and actually the American Heart Association, for females recommends 1,200 calories. So that's about 5,000 kilojoules. Okay, so I used that. I want to show you, if we do a macronutrient split of 45% carb, 20% protein, and 35% fat, this is the amount of food this person can eat in a day. That's quite a fair amount of food. It's quite balanced, but lots of different variety for them. We're meeting nutrient quality expectations. If we go high protein, 35% is the max you can go here, because your fat goes off as you calculate the protein. So you actually have very little added fat there. You actually don't, because the protein takes up your fat allocation. Okay. I actually had a patient phone me last week saying, "Oh, she used the app and I haven't calculated her calculations correctly because there's definitely not 40% fat." And I was like, actually, you take off for protein. So patients don't understand nutrition, especially now they think they've got an app that can calculate the diet. They really can't. It's quite confusing for them. And then I looked at when you take carbs, it's 10%, and fat goes up to 75%. When we're looking at people in these higher fat, no carb diets, that is what their diet looks like for a day. And when I showed this slide to patients, they're like, what? And they're all confused. And you know what? Do you see the difference in the color? The color just disappears. Boom, it's gone. So the nutrient quality starts getting impacted. Now, So this is also a fabulous paper. It's by David Katz and S. Miller. And the question they asked is, can you say what diet's best for now? What they did is also an excellent paper from last year, but they looked at what are the different diets and what key messages from all those different diets are universal and that we can definitely say these will impact health. Okay, so they looked at low carbohydrate diets, and I sort of mentioned here, anything that was under 45% carb was low carb diets, which is not really that excessive, okay? Low fat vegetarian diets, low glycemic index, Mediterranean, the mixed balance through all the dietary guidelines, and then the Paleolithic diet. And they gave all details of the pros and the cons and everything on each one, but then they've got the key messages here. It's limit refined starches and added sugars and processed foods, limit the intake of certain fats, put emphasis on whole plant foods with or without lean meats, fish, poultry, and seafood, and eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And such an easy message to start teaching to patients and just take all the clutter away for them. I think it's a lovely message to help patients. So when we start with those A's and we look at the assessment, we need to be looking at all these different aspects, and our initial assessments, I mean, in my practice it's an hour and 20 minutes for a first consult, and then the patient doesn't leave with a plan. I see them 2 to 3 days later, and they only get their plan, okay? And we start with the diet history. I actually ask them to fill in food frequency questionnaires, 24-hour recalls, weekend eating patterns, socializing, how it impacts. I go through questions like, where are you eating your lunch? Are you at your desk? Are you in your car? Are you skipping lunch? Where's your breakfast? You know, have you got kids? Who's doing the food prep? We've got to be asking these questions, otherwise we're not going to meet the requirements of these patients. Their weight history. So I also ask, you know, what's your weight been doing in the last while? When did you first start with your weight problems? We look at current eating patterns. Also their nutrient intake. So it's also very valuable to sometimes put their current diets into your food programs, food police, food finders, etc., and pull up their nutrient quality and show them the lack of nutrients. Because often these patients that are very overweight are eating such a poor nutrient quality diet that they're really actually malnourished as well. Also the environmental factors, how often they're eating out. I actually, patients bring the Mr. Delivery book to my office, and I sit with a Cokie pen and I circle the ones that are okay for them to eat. So that when that happens, they've got a plan. Because you know what? They're not going to live on your plan every day, all the time. They're going to mess it up, and I tell them that that's going to happen. There's plan B, and that seems to work quite well. Also the exercise history, you need to know what they've done, what are their barriers to exercise, because they'll have excuses. I've got an uncle and an aunt that are both now trying to lose weight, and I heard that they're not doing a great diet, so I phoned them and I said, listen, I'm going to help you, you're now Skyping with me, and they said they both can't walk, they're old, they can't walk, so I said, you can walk in your garden. Then my uncle says, oh yeah, but the garden's not even, if he falls. I said, you know, walk around the pool's paved, it's flat, walk around the pool, 10 laps every day, come. They will find an excuse for everything. So you get really good at negotiation skills. Okay, so, and also the readiness to change. If your patient's not ready to change, you can talk until you're blue in the face, they're not going to change. You need to understand where they're at, what they're ready to change. I will often take the plan, give it to them and go, okay, choose 3 things you want to work on and let's start with that. And that's all you do for the first week. Let's see how you go. We'll build on that as we go. Because then they also feel like, oh, I'm getting somewhere, I'm making progress, and that's also helpful. I also give patients this information in terms of getting back to basics, understanding the energy of carbs versus fat versus protein. Because I think a lot of patients are so scared of touching carbs at the moment, and it's not necessary. You need to understand the basics. Also this, I mean, just out of interest, you guys know how many slices of bread is in one pizza? It's 16 slices of bread. Okay? And when you tell this to patients and you put it in bread equivalent, they're like, oh my word. Now remember I showed you those, the American Heart Association says that it's 1,200 kilojoules for weight reduction for females. That's one pizza. You know? When you go to cook culture, there's a family of 4 and each one has a pizza in front of them. People aren't sharing pizzas, they each have their own one. These are the recommendations in terms of energy deficits. You can see the amount for women are 1,200 calories to 1,500 calories. For men, it's 1,500 to 1,800 calories. And they also talk about reducing foods high in refined carbs, high in fat, low in fiber. So by doing that, we automatically drop total energy. And we also need to create energy deficits of between 500 and 750 calories per day. So I was explaining to patients like this: if we're looking at your total energy intake and you weigh 100 and you want to weigh 70, our goal weight is to create, we've got to create an energy deficit. So to drop 1 kilogram of fat mass, it's about 32,000 kilojoules. So that's 161 slices of bread that you're not going to eat. Okay? Yeah, it's not easy. So to lose a half a kilogram of weight per week, we've got to have a 2,000 kilojoule deficit. For a kilogram, it's a 4,000 kilojoule deficit. So if the person's more or less eating 10,000 kilojoules when they see you, we want to give them enough energy so that we're above basal metabolic rates, but they're becoming enough to make a nice deficit so we get results. And I'm very strict with my clients, and I'm always strict like that, because if the patient comes back and they want more leeway, then I can give a little bit more and I'll still do well. If I've been very lenient and now they're still hungry or whatever, then I've got no space to play with my numbers. So that's my sort of approach. And when you look at oxidative stress and the inflammation, I also do this with my patients. I show them, if you get a portion of pasta at a restaurant, half a cup is a portion. You're getting 4 to 5 cups at a restaurant. It's 8 to 10 slices of bread. So what's happening is you're eating all of that. You're getting a whole lot of glucose entering your bloodstream. The pancreas has to supply insulin. It does so. It doesn't have enough. It's got to send more. And you're now sitting with a state of hyperinsulinemia. And what we need to understand is when that insulin is elevated, it's actually signaling the lipoprotein lipase, which is it's pushes fat storage then. And we're reducing fat oxidation. And also that patient's far hungrier. So you specifically see this in those insulin-resistant patients, and there are lots of them. I've got a patient now, she's lost 5 kilos, she's insulin-resistant, low vitamin D, and she had a BMI of about 28. She lost 5 kilos, but her waist circumference has dropped by 14 centimeters because we've changed that insulin secretion cycle that she's in. Another big issue here is that when we have this excess glucose, that glucose is getting forced into those cells, and it's really causing oxidative stress and damage. Now, this slide I actually got from Sylvia's stuff, but here you can see the complexity of obesity and oxidative stress, and how it overlinks with your antioxidant defenses, and it impacts at such a range. But I always explain to patients and say, the same damage you get for smoking a box of cigarettes is the damage you're going to get if your portions are too big and just flooding those cells with glucose. And that helps them understand it. So the oxidative stress actually increases all those inflammatory cytokines. Your damage to beta cells and endothelial cells is terrible because those cells aren't insulin mediated. So the cells just literally get wiped out. Now, your endothelial cells are the ones that line all the arteries. So if they get damaged, your artery's ability to dilate and constrict for controlling blood pressure, etc., is affected. So this obviously increases risk for chronic diseases in these patients, and we really have to then, as one of the ways to impact this, is focus on phytochemical intake in the diet, vitamins, minerals, the quality of the nutrients. So I actually show this to patients and say, these are all carbs. Okay? And you see that it's a rainbow, there's lots of colors, but what we know is that if we look at lutein is a phytochemical in citrus fruits and green leafy vegetables. It helps protect eyes from oxidation. Your dial sulfides have immune boosting properties. You get that in garlic, fennel, onions, the strong flavored vegetables. Your lycopenes people are quite familiar with, the ones in tomatoes. We get the beta-carotene, the ellagic acid is in the berries, the resveratrol in the red wine, and the purple grapes, and the blueberries. So I mean, I've just shown you 8 of the phytochemicals. There are over 2,000 different ones. So if people can start eating a bigger variety of vegetables and they're getting more of these, they will automatically start feeling better, and they're working not only on their weight loss, but also on that oxidative stress and inflammation pathway. We also need to include good quality carbohydrates in the diet. They need to be portion controlled. And patients need to understand if they're not getting those good quality carbohydrates, the fiber is often a huge issue. And then they'll say, but I'll get it from eating veg. So I went and looked at that. You would need to eat 3 cups of spinach to get 2 grams of fiber, 3 cups of lettuce for a gram of fiber, a cup of Brussels sprouts will give you 3 grams. So on average, to meet the 25 gram fiber need per day, you'd need 20 cups of veg a day. Okay, you'd be dietitians in this room. Does anybody even come close to that diet? If we're using good quality carbohydrates in the correct portions, you can see even a half a cup of red kidney beans will give you 8.3 grams of fiber. So if we start encouraging people to include legumes, I've actually met a dietitian in KwaZulu-Natal who she says her patients have to eat a half a cup of legumes a day. Like that's a standard protocol for her. Okay, and there are definitely obviously gut health benefits as well linked with obesity. What about the fats? Okay, we know that too little fats are problematic for sure, but we also know that too much fat is a problem. Okay, so we need to find that healthy balance where we're getting the fats in the diet, but the good quality right types of fats. It's my scared tactic for the people that like fried foods. so our South African food-based dietary guidelines used to say we need to use fats sparingly, but we know that that message has changed. And you know, the message to eat and use the right type of fats in moderation is key. Where saturated fat should be less than 10%, the polyunsaturated fat 6 to 10, and the remainder from monos. And I wanted to show you this as well. It really comes down to the chain length of the saturated fats, and the shorter the chain length, the more impact it has on LDL cholesterol. So you can see the lauric and the myristic and the palmitic acids, they actually increase the LDL cholesterol, where the stearic is a more neutral effect. So when I'm working with patients for weight loss, they need fats, but I actually show them this, and it shows you, there's the lauric and the palmitic and the myristic acids, there's the stearic, and there's the long-chain fatty acids. And when we look at actual food in the diet, things like your palm kernel oil, you can see it's mostly red, the coconut oil is also mostly in the pink area, and you've also got in the butter's more neutral, so you've got a little bit more of the stearic acid. And then if you go to things like the avocado oils and the olive oils, they're far higher in the long-chain fatty acids, which have more anti-inflammatory benefits. There are more health benefits associated with using the longer-chain fatty acids. And it's also important to understand that it's what's taken out of the diet and what it's replaced with that we also have to look at. So when you take saturated fats out of the diet and you replace them with polys, we reduce cardiovascular disease risk. When we take saturated fats out and replace it with carbs, it increases, but it is the type of carb. Okay, so when it's that high GI refined sugar carbs, it's problematic. However, when saturated fats are removed and replaced with low GI, good quality, high fiber, nutrient dense carbohydrates, you actually get a reduction in cardiovascular disease risk. So it's important for us to understand this and be able to communicate it to patients, because you are going to get these questions. We need protein, and I think there's been quite a lot of emphasis on protein. There's certainly, as we were looking now with the bariatric patients, they need quite a lot more. But we also need to be careful not to go overboard with the protein. So I've actually seen a when a patient comes in for weight loss, and the glomerular filtration rates go right down, because the patient's been on these high protein diets. And when we stop that, they actually start normalizing again. But I mean, you'll know more about that, but at what point is that non-reversible anymore? And that's a problem. Okay, so when we look at weight loss interventions, this fascinated me, okay? For the weight loss interventions, for a person who actually saw a dietitian and I did the intervention, they should see you 14 times in 6 months. That means they're going to you every 2nd week, and a little bit more in the 1st month, okay? So if somebody says to me, I'm going to actually ask about this, I've been to a dietitian, I'm going to say, how many sessions did you go for? Was it more than 14? No, then you actually didn't really see a dietitian. Okay, because that actually is the literature. Once they've lost the weight, they need to still see the dietitian for another year for weight maintenance. Okay, so I've got one want for medical aid, it's not even paying for an obese child. They don't do obesity for kids. They don't pay for that. I'm like, really? You're not going to pay for an obese child, age of 9, with a waist circumference more than the adult cutoffs. So I think these are the also discussions we need to start having with medical aids in terms of what is actual intervention for these overweight obese clients. Okay. Portion control, we all geared to say, less, eat less. Okay? And we know portions have just gotten so massive over time. Now, there's actually literature now that they're saying telling a patient to simply eat less may not be the best approach. Okay? We really need to start focusing on nutrient quality and teaching people to eat less of the high energy, low nutrient dense foods and lots more of the lower energy, high nutrient rich foods. Okay, and that's quite a nice paper as well. It's by Rolls, it's 2014 paper. I mean, you'll all have access to the slides with the references. We also have to make sure that we're giving people enough tools to actually facilitate these changes and monitor their progress. For that phytochemical document I showed you, I actually have a list of 76 different fruits and veg, and I ask patients to track their intake over a month. And then I look at the different colors and I help them see where they're leaving out things, because your patients are typically buying the same 20 foods over and over and over again. So you need to start guiding them and helping them to increase variety. And I find people don't know how to cook veg, they don't know how to make fish, and when I say legumes, they're not bites. So what is a legume? So you've got to really help them and guide them and give them ideas to make these actual meals on their plate. Okay. Also, the monitoring process is really important. Your patients are going to relapse. And when you have that discussion about expectations, you need to tell them, listen, you're going to relapse. I want you to expect it, accept it and carry on when it happens. I always say to my patients, try not to have 2 bad meals in a row. And I always say to them, there are going to be days that you do not absolutely want to see me. You're going to want to phone and go, Claire, hi, I'm sick, I can't come. Because you know it's been terrible. Those are the days that I need to see you the most. Okay, so you need to have the discussions right in the beginning with patients. I also work with patients in terms of self-monitoring, motivational interviewing, helping them to also solve the problems themselves. So something that I also learned over the years, and my dad always says to me, you've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you must listen twice as much as you speak. And when I first was a young dietitian, I used to try and fill the consult, tell all the information. But you know what? I realized if you just sit and say to patients, where you're battling, what you're struggling with, what are the things you think you can change to make it better, they actually have the solutions, they just need to be helped along. I also often will refer patients to psychologists. That patient I told you about that only eats the convenience foods, the bachelor that's lost the 62 kilos. When he first saw me, he couldn't look at me. He would just sit and look down. He's now, I've actually seen him a psychologist, he's going to be working in social group just to get social skills to now deal with his new him that's 62 kgs lighter, which is amazing. It's always lovely to see that, hey? In the physical activity, this is from the Australian guidelines on obesity and weight management, and what they've done is they've categorized the different types of exercise, what they are, and given examples of those. They've then taken a step further and the first speaker, as Dr. Bertha had referred to people saying, oh, well, exercise, sit on the couch, that whole thing, and it's crazy actually, because what they know is, even if people do exercise, there are health benefits, even if there's absolutely no weight loss. They say physical activity has little effect on weight unless it's combined with dietary changes. So we know that. It's also dose response exists. But I'm honestly telling you now, it's this disconnect. This is the gap. Patients are going to gym and they're getting on the tread, eating a mug and bean muffin, and then going, oh, I'll just go to the gym for 10 minutes and it'll be, I'm sorry, you actually need to go swim for an hour. Eating a little portion of fries is a cycle for an hour and then run for an hour. It's like a 10K jog for a pizza. And patients don't get this. So we need to put it in context for them. Okay. With regards to physical activity, there's a relationship between the physical activity and health benefits. So there's repeated physiological, metabolical adaptation, and energy expenditures associated with daily physical activity. It's important for the people to be doing it more frequently. So, I actually even say to patients, if they've got a gym contract, I say just get in the routine of going. Even if you go to buy coffee on your way to work, at least go. Like, get there and start going to gym, that it becomes part of your normal everyday routine. The health benefits are achieved for 150 to 30 to 300 minutes of moderate and intensity activity weekly, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous activity, or combination of the two each week. So that's what the Australians are telling their people to start doing. Okay. I've been using this quite a lot in my practice, and I find it quite relevant and helpful. Argus is an app that your patients can use. It's a picture diary. So if they're not, I find the men are brilliant with this because they don't want to keep food records, but they can snapshot the foods that they're eating. There's also a pedometer. So if they keep a phone on them, it will count their steps for the day. There's a water block, so every time you click it, click, there's a wine block for the weekends. So we can see what they're doing. So if people are reluctant to do the written food diaries, you can give them the Argus. There's also MyFitnessPal, there's also My Diary. The issue I have with some of these is that a lot of the information is sourced by whoever wants to put it on. So sometimes the information is wrong, and my dad will come and go, look what I did, I just did, and I'm like, Dad, that's definitely not right, that's not right. He's like, what, why? I'm like, it's not always 100% right. And this is the same patient that used this app that phoned me and said, she thinks I'm sure, look at the calculation. She's done a calculation with MyFitnessPal and nothing was wrong. So we just have to tell the patient, this is not 100% accurate, but it's a guide to use. There's this one's really nice. It's called Walker M7. So this is one that actually measures your sedentary time as well as your walking and your running time. Only the newer iPhones can do it, not all of them. But it actually, you can actually see how much downtime they've had and how many they get in a day. If they don't have that one, there's also the it's called Runkeeper is the other one. That's also quite useful. Then another one that's also quite nice is called Yumly. So it's YUNNLY. And this one, patients can actually put in ingredients that they like, ones that they don't like, and it will generate all recipes for them that are within those different groups. So it's actually very nice for picky eaters as well. Okay. This is my own Pinterest page, so I actually do this with my patients. I have a dietitian board and I have a recipe board, and I update this all the time. So if I find nice recipes that are interesting, and you can see this has got like little NutriBullet combos, and it's got little salsas and how to make zucchini with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on. Here's how to make your own guacamole. And patients love this. I tell them go follow it, and then they're getting new recipes from me all the time. And I also have a dietitian page. So on this one, it's got different things. It's got a wine glass with the different milk, and then the top one says, who cares if it gets to the top line. So, but the patients like it. And this is also how to portion size your mince. So if they buy 500 gram mince, they can divide it into those 9 blocks and use a block as a portion. So it's some nice tips and motivations to help the patients, and they really appreciate that. Okay, so my key messages are, we need to include all the different macronutrient groups in our plans for our patients. The variety and the colour is key, because not only is that helping them bulk up the volume, it's also helping them from that phytochemical perspective to help with inflammation and oxidative stress. Moderation for me is key. I really think so, and I think we need to sit and listen to our patients and work with them, and actually do the calculation sometimes with them to get them to understand where we're going to. We need to ask the right questions, and sometimes even if you're not 100% agreeing with your patient, find where they act right there and work with what they're willing to change. Okay, they're not going to change everything at once, but if they start making a little bit of progress, they actually do so much better over the long run. I actually have a little challenge I do with them. Once they've lost 10 kilos, they have to go to the supermarket and pick up a bag of dog food that weighs 10 kilos and take a picture for me and walk once around that 10 kilos. And you know how brilliant it is for them. They just come back and they're so motivated. And we've got a patient now, she started with me in July last year. She's on 3 bags of dog food now. She's lost 31 kilos. So it's so motivating for them. And we just done it slowly. She had cake on her birthday. I'm really much about that 80-20% rule with my patients. And also it's always a team approach, and we've all the speakers this morning have really spoken about this. We have to work with the psychologists, with the doctors. At the end of the day, if we do that, our patient's going to be the one that benefits from it. So I really encourage all of you to pick up the phones and speak to the referring physicians and the psychologists as well. So basically, we need to train people to skip the diets and start eating healthy, good quality foods. And of course, my favorite saying, it's about nutrition, you should ask the dietitian. So thank you so much.